have been having this song that we are going to start with, and says, these are the chronicles of life and death and everything between. These are the stories of our life, as fictional as they may seem. We come in this world and we go on just the same. Today that brought me these memories of Transcendence that inspired this talk about learning how to die and live freely and fully. And it has this embedded meaning that I want to highlight: the chronicles of our life and death and everything in between. So the chronicles, as these are recorded memories in our cycles of life, death, and what is in between. So we have, like most persons here, from the Akashic Records lineage, and we in the Akashic Records usually see many patterns and stories that are recorded in the Akasha, in the library of the universe. And some stories reproduce when we are alive, or some stories we can see them in the afterlife and do a recapitulation. That's one of the main things I want to bring today, the recapitulation. That is a technique from the shamanism and has to do with these chronicles that are recorded to remember what is the moment of beginning, when life starts, everything in between, and death, the entering to another cycle. And the second line says, these are the stories of our life, as fictional as they may seem. There's some funny component there. As fictional as they may seem, also from the Latin, the fiction, the ficto, is what is made. So sometimes we have this idea that the fictional is a lie. Science fiction that is made science, so it may be a lie if it's made, but made by who? So this is another point that we're going to touch today, about the how we ficto, how we make our stories, and that has a lot to do with the direction, the beginnings and the conclusions, as the cycles, all cycles have beginnings, in between, beginnings, unfoldings, and conclusions. And the cycle, the myths that we are living, while we can tune into the symbolic language, or the language of the gods, when we can see the mythology and the symbols being played out in our lives also, as fictional as they may seem. So we are playing out some patterns, some mythologies, some stories as characters of this life. That brings us a great power and relief at the same time, when we know that we are, yes, I will bring this now, when we are the narrators, the directors, the editors, and the performers of our life. So if there's a script of our life, as I love to declare myself as an artist of life, that philosophy has changed the way I live as an artist of life, where my masterpiece is the life I can create, that puts us in a better position to create our story. So that I want to share from where we can start having the steer wheel, the reins of our life, as many of us have been working in personal development, psychology to understand us better, in coaching, that we in coaching usually say what story we're telling ourselves or what's happening. All those resources are very useful for having narrative awareness. So this awareness that will be a crafting tool for our lives and deaths, because we are the designer of both and the whole cycle, the designers and performers. So whenever we are not being the director, designer, the narrator who is telling the story, or we are giving away one of those roles, something will take over. Can be some collective ego, some unconscious or lesser dating between the realms that is leading our lives, or we can claim all those roles and ourselves be that story. Okay, that is an introduction to the topics today, and I love this lesson that I got from a drama teatro, would be a theater, a performatic arts artist that told me drama, any drama that we have in our life plus time equals comedy. Whenever we have a drama in our life, with time, suddenly becomes comedy. We can laugh at it. Has it happened to you? Sometime that you could laugh at your past drama when you could see it from another time? So here I will bring this awareness of time, because I kind of did a biopsy in time, and the passing of time, or the concept of time, give us a possibility to tune into our godlike capacity that is acknowledging, like recognizing ourselves as eternal. So whenever we zoom out into a position of eternity, we are in this, our time is in our favor, and we can laugh at whatever situation our life is giving us. We can extract ourselves from the drama that is creating our personality, our ego, to stand in the eyes of eternity and laugh at it. Whenever we develop that awareness, that is, you can train it or even remember it. If you have done meditation or any transcendental practice of transcendence, transcending these limitations, these prisons, these caves, Plato's caves of whatever meaning we are giving to this life, we can observe that from eternity, and suddenly we have that godlike capacity of laughing at whatever is happening. So that's why I love so much the philosophy of artist of life, and this awareness on the eternity, like a godlike perspective. And from this awareness that I want to bring as a resource too, to start having more crafting tools in our cycle of life, death, and everything in between, this godlike awareness is the capacity of changing perspectives or zooming in of whatever. Whenever we are stuck in some loop, repetitions, that we suddenly go automatically and we stop being or inhabiting whatever situation we are in, we get automated and the pattern takes over us. So this godlike capacity of zooming out, we are going to say godlike capacity, aka consciousness, of zooming out, taking me out of this situation, having an overview, or zooming in. In the last call that was not recorded, we also named that sometimes we are looking like to go up, out, and out of the world. Nothing can touch me because nothing exists, because everything is one. Yes, yes, wonderful. But also, whenever we cannot find that capacity of zooming out, the other alternative is zooming in and going in the little details that show us the beauty of life. And there's this saying that says, if you're not finding God, or your God-like consciousness, you are not looking low enough. Sometimes you're looking so high, looking for a thing, but we are not looking that detail of something beautiful that we can fractalize and extract all divinity from something very, very small, can also give us this access to feel the beauty and find the liberation from those patterns that we are trapped in those cycles. So far, so good with these two tools of awareness and the creation of our stories as artists of life, the art of life and death, and the consciousness capacity of zooming out and in and bending time, because we can shift perspectives from whatever event. Every situation, every scenario has a time. So if we become masters of time by using the consciousness, we can suddenly laugh at everything that is happening to us, for us, or we are creating. Yes. This is enjoyable so far. I'm trying to go slower this time because I saw last video. It was like machine gun thing, and I know that you're taking notes. I highly recommend taking notes in these things. This is part of the techniques. The taking notes are great part on the how to learn to die and live, because of the recording and our memories, and because of the task that we have after the threshold. So whenever we can help us in all the ways possible to the crossing of the threshold, we can we are having as allies to carry all the treasures possible in our souls to the other side, and also the memories from the other side to this side. So we are broadening our capacity of memory. That's going to be the conduit between realms. The capacity of imprinting in symbols and mythologies and connecting with the God's language, so we can be better translators and conduits for in between realms. Because we have memories and capacity of remembering them with the proper symbolisms, and the symbol is alive, and that's how that's how we embed the memories, the symbols with emotions to become them memories. That's more precise. We embed symbolism, a pattern that is not alive, with our life emotions, and we become it a memory. And that way we can carry it and move it between realms as a treasure that we have in our soul. Is this useful so far? Let me see. Yes. Awesome. And that's one of the mechanisms that we have to assist ourselves to be the treasure carrier, the value generator and holder and transporter between realms, and also that from there becomes the wealthiness of the soul, plus the service and contribution to the whole, because we are coming like to mine experiences, life experiences here, and these resources and life experiences that we bring also feed the God consciousness. So that's kind of a base service we have for everyone that has an awareness. Make sense? But did I see it simple? Any question so far on this? I know I went very symbolic. Yes, okay. Well, many of you that are channeling, you are familiar with when you receive archetypes or life situations, when you enter a record or a message that comes, you're shown a scenario, and we usually feel something because it's brought up alive, so you feel it, or you can even see it because you have it in your emotional spectrum and your codes and characters, languages that you know, spectrum too. So we need the pattern side and the vibrational toolkit or a spectrum to be able to access memories and to create them as well. So the awareness, when we are here alive in these devices, these mechanics of creation of memories and soul wealth, is crucial for when we go in between realms. So I want to bring first a story to lighten it up. I had a mentor on this that he spoke so lightly on this that it was like, look how he has integrated that. And he was death helped me also to be a, I remember when I died and when I was on the other side, and it was like going behind a theater, you know, the curtains of a theater, and your persona, your character just died in the theater play. Imagine that you're playing a role, playing a character, it dies, and you go behind the curtains. and everybody behind the curtains are saying, well done, good job doing that. So you remove the disguise, the costume of that character that you were playing, and you can observe the rest of the play or choose to prepare for another play. And well, I love a lot the simplicity that makes it so light, you know, knowing that we just change our costume in life. And the thing is now, what art are we creating while we are playing that character? We are playing in the God consciousness of getting in and out of the role. And then, how's that performance going? How's that art piece done? Because if this happens in life too, it's like I go into a play, or I went into a dancing into a stage, or playing music, and then you get off and you see, my performance, you know, I could have done better, you know, and you have that questions about your performance, and that's kind of what the soul knows, and is kind of not at ease in this ease, because of not performing their best. And we see a lot of persons when they consult on the records, how can I unleash my full potential? Man, I want to do my best, and use that potential of the best performance ever possible in our life, to not kind of waste it. Yes, how we can put up the best show possible, as Silver is saying there. And that's kind of the soul unrest in many parts, many times. So that's why when we are more conscious of these dynamics that we are performing, we can improve our performance. Otherwise, it's just like going without awareness that we are in a play, and we start believing the characters, and we start like going off script, and it's very, very difficult for others to keep playing along, because we are not following the scripts, because we forgot that this was a costume. So we believe everybody around is crazy or taking it on you, whatever, you know. So when we have that capacity of laughing at the drama and the personas and the characters and the roles, life becomes easier. And regarding the performance, I go back to that. There's a self-assessment that you can do on. Yes, first is, when we go into the art of living, the Toltecs that are called artists of life, they bring usually the angel of death towards them. They say, okay, bring it on, angel of death, what you have to show me. And for them, it's the same, the angel of death, than the angel of transformation. It's the same entity. So for having a real transformation, we have to face death. And that's transform, really transcend the form. Otherwise, it's like just like an emulation and reproduction of ego that show itself differently, but doesn't transcend the form. It can shapeshift, but it does not transform. So there's a difference between changing the form and transcending the form. That's why the angel of death is necessary. So a great resource that the Toltecs do on this is bring it on, angel of death. I am ready to transcend this form. And we connect with transcendence there. What is transcendent? So when we do this assessment with the angel of death, we connect with what is transcendent for me, what is transcendent for this lifetime. And it was so strong when I was doing this assessment of myself, and you can do it. There's a tool that I recommend that is the 3 most important questions. And those are the experiences that in your life you want to have, experiences. You want to be in a certain way. So this is kind of crafting of your character. And you want to be, have, ser, tener y hacer, and do. You want to do certain things, you want to be a certain way, and you want to have certain things before you go. So whenever you have that assessment of, okay, these are the things I want to have, be, and do in my life, and you feel a sense of non-negotiable, I cannot live without doing this, then you start talking about transcendence, and you will really know if it's transcendent or not if they become non-negotiable. That's a higher importance, and that brings greater meaning to whatever you're doing. And I had this when I was working in the movie Samadhi, and it was like instantly. I was watching first the movie in English, and I said, this movie has to be in Spanish. Like, I saw 15 minutes and I already knew that all what was being said there had to be in Spanish, and the video was so good, the message was so good, that you cannot spend time with the dissociation of the reading and listening and processing all that insights by reading the thing. So I had to do the narration, and while I was doing it, even that it was a lot of work and I had to do it for free, I was getting what is called pistis, spiritual credit, because that was a transcendent act for me. So that's what I was getting. I was getting spiritual and will put into memory. Doing things that are meaningful, performing your best way in what you are creating in your life, and remembering it. There are 2 components that sometimes dissociate. Even like 2 years ago, 2 years from after that, I still have to access the recording of the YouTube video and read the comments to see how many people are grateful for that action. And that fills me and brings me the memory of all that good karma that I did. So the Dharma and the karma, this is the same dynamic. The Dharma, the direction we are giving it, and the karma, the cause and the memory we have. I put it in very simple terms, but that's also in the Vedas and the sacred text. Karma, Dharma, the will isn't there. We have to have a good management of both. So good so far? So far, so good? as referent of Dharma is that he didn't have attachments on certain causes. He was burning or passing the test of karma. He directed himself and kept directing himself to the best performance. In the moment of illumination that he was leading himself, he has the best, the best and the hardest challenges he could have, that were all the memories about lust, about his life as a prince, all the attachments and the regrets that got the Mara, that was like death and suffering. Death, suffering. How's the name of the consciousness that comes to challenges? Mara, I know it has, but it has to do with death, suffering, and he challenges all of that. No, it's Mara, Samamara, something like that. The demon that comes as God, as the Brahma, and the sons of Mara, that are the temptations that he had, the regrets of the family, and he could detach from that and keep going to enlightenment. And when we can be aware of our performance and create our memories to become it in soul wisdom, and not trying to cling on it, to grasp on it. We cannot. It's freezing here. Okay, let me see if I have. Okay. Okay, those are calls when my camera freezes. Now it's working? Yes. So we come in this world and we go out just the same. It's not the same form, or we just came for nothing. That's not the nihilism. It's more a virtue that we talk with the director of Samadhi that is called equanimity. Have you heard of equanimity? There's something that cannot change me. There's something that I know I'm God, and this won't change me. So when we connect with that essence of beyond good and bad, this is not good and bad because everything is perfect. That's when we tune into that equanimity, that passing events cannot change us, cannot disturb us, because we are eternity. Whatever problem emerges, we are eternal. So it's a matter of time that it comes to a solution or dissolution in time, that we handle it. And whenever we need to zoom in and have some drama to leave it and generate and harvest life experiences, we are doing it. So there we have a natural dynamics on how to craft this life, the memories and the tools that we need to tune into this godlike awareness, and not attaching to our personality, and how to pass through the challenges that we are going to have. And that's what will improve us in the performance in life. That's why we have been doing the hero's way. Who has seen the hero's map? One, I have 2, 3 screens. Okay, you have the hero's map, and those are very beautiful tools to see which part and which stage we are trapped in. Sometimes we are like trapped in some scenario in our life, and we are in that loop, and we need to do something heroic. That's why we train in heroic answers, heroic ways of living. And for being heroic, as we talk in the hero's way, we need big challenges. Otherwise, the life would be something in between life and death that I've been there, and I believe that many of us have been there, and it's tasteless, not knowing if you're dead or alive, you know, like dead alive, that zombiness that becomes normal. It's disrupted by the heroic answers, having big challenges. So we cannot really know if we are doing a great performance in life if we don't have challenges up to the size, you know, up to the size of greatness. Yes, pressure can be precious. And in my Gene Keys, I had that, the grace under pressure. Grace under pressure. Like that gracefulness that we talk about. It's like whatever drama I'm in, I feel the pressure and I can laugh. Like, look at everything that is happening to me that is pressuring me to be better and perform. So I take it as a challenge that squeezes the crystals to become it a diamond, squeezes the carbons particles to make it a diamond, and bring that soul treasure to the other realm. So that's the alchemy of the soul we are learning all to do. Yes, that's the alchemy, and I love I bring it again because there are persons that didn't do the hero's way, and I bring the heroic way and the alchemist story from the book The Alchemist, that we have those tests and we have ways of answering to the proposals of God. There are propositions of God, to say it in a way. We can be victims of those propositions, or we can be recipients of God's proposals and opportunities. So that takes us out from the victimhood of the happening to me and the victim consciousness, you know. And when we are out of the victim consciousness, we start having the power and the reins to be the performers of our life, the directors, the editors, and the narrators. So there we start gathering power in our roles of life sculpting. And I will bring the importance, since we are today focusing on how to die, I will highlight the importance of the narrator right now. The narrator is the story we are telling constantly. There are many movies that we see that there's someone like narrating our story, and then he went and he saw that with certain feeling. And whenever we can tune into that narrator that is telling the story, describing the world, describing how we are feeling, whenever we can tune into the narrator consciously and own that role, we can first take away all the voices that are trying to narrate our life, or direct our life. In Paris says the other or the ego. There's the I, the lowercase I, that is trying to direct my life with these normal patterns. And whenever I am the one aware of what is being narrated, and I choose if I play it or not, I can do that dissociation that you say, Tashi, there. First, I need to dissociate to have this narrator role as an ally. So this is like the DJ. Let's say this is like the DJ. So it's telling something, and you choose if you do it or not. So you start generating a dissociation. Sometimes you hear like, no, I will not be able to do it because I never was able to do it, and that's why. And that negative self-talk that is called, or how's the other is like automatic negative thoughts that are feeding that negative narratives. And we can dissociate them and we can challenge them. Okay, there's the narrator saying something and the performer does another thing. So there starts like dissociating what are being handled by the ego or the other or ourselves. And whenever we access this narrator, that we can laugh at ourselves and even narrate and listen to the story we're telling and laughing and changing it, that will give us the capacity of directing our life and also recording it. We are going to be able to have a more memorable life. Because remember, all heroes have tales told about them. So you have also to be your own bard. Whenever you do some chant or song in your name or in your achievements, or you remember those and celebrate them, you will be able to feed that transcendence. That's how we remember heroes. That's how we become immortal in the stories of the heroes that left that legacy of great hazañas, of great challenges overcome. Is it good so far? I am trying to regulate the rhythm. Let me know how we are with that. Yes. Yes. So the narrator, the director, the editor, because you can change some things of the past or with the direction of the past or what was being scripted, you can edit it to have a different story. Then whenever you need to recapitulate, that was the first tool we talk about in shamanism, recapitulation. We need these roles playing with us. The recapitulation helps us to remember each chapter is okay, yeah, this chapter of our lives, and to extract the synthesis, the editing, and the moral, what we have learned, what treasure we brought from there, what attribute we got from there that we own because of that chapter in our life. And we retrieve and reintegrate all that power from all those chapters. So the recapitulation usually is very useful for closing cycles and retrieve all your power, because you are going to need all that power to go into the next phase as your new way of being. So you can live that new way of being according to your whole integrated self. For the recapitulation, you need a teamwork. It's not a particular role. You need to do a team gathering there. So it's like you need the one who's narrating what is in the past, to listen to that one. The editor to say, okay, was this like this? Are you wanting to transcript again as this way, or you can tune it in a different shade, color, form, the editor. Then we can direct it into a new direction, and we need all the team there working. So the recapitulation is very useful for that, and it doesn't need to be your whole life, because that may be so heavy, and sometimes there are chapters that are still open. We have to honor those chapters open. So we need to retrieve energy from the chapters that are already closed or need polishing, for having sometimes energy to close other chapters. Make sense? And that's like a very strong technique of learning how to let die times, or wrap up, bring to a closure. Yes, polishing, I mean by how we are telling the facts, what we felt, how we can rephrase or bring a deeper meaning now from a different perspective, that we are not trapped by it. I will bring an example of my autobiographical chapter in the Ignite Your Life for Men, that was like a lot of work. And whenever I kind of puked everything that was like ongoing that I wanted to say. I puked everything, and it's like I needed to put it out. Then I read it and I say, okay, if I need to show this, because the editor will take it and will say, what value is this bringing to the other people? So then I say, okay, that's true. And then the editor also told me, why you're talking in passive voice when you go to this part of your story? I'm talking in passive voice, and he did this to me, and that happened to me, so poor me. I started writing like that, and I read it. So that was like, the editor made me see that I went to passive voice, and that I was not owning and generating more drama than needed. So in the same editing, I could reframe it and heal it as well, take me out from that victim loop that was that part of my life there. That's the role of the editor, for example, and in the recapitulation of how those events were and which events you extract from, and you do a selective attention, because your apparatus of meaning, your apparatus of importance, and what you want to have as legacy to transcend is in there. So the director starts working there. Yes, Tessa, you have there a question that you raise your hand. No? I see your hand there, like. Awesome. Tower of hands. Excellent. So far, so good here. This is useful on the conscious tools on this. Let's see here. Okay, we are 10 minutes to bring the sometimes we are by the automatic, we believe that we really, really desire. And sometimes that's the ego possessing us. And we really wanted to travel around the world and live in a house beach. And that was like the script that was imprinted there for many years. And it's like, but that may not be transcendent. It's like you can, if you assess very well what you would put yourself fully in, sometimes that's not the transcendental things, and that's why many times it doesn't happen, because that's just a whim of the ego that wants to direct you to that script. So how to know what is transcendent? I just said that is, what would you put yourself fully in? That's a level of commitment of the level of what would I die for? And that's how we start directing our life. We need the power of death. What would I die for? Whenever we say, okay, there's something I would die for, that's where you can like invest yourself fully. Or whenever we find something that I cannot, and it's not negotiable, I cannot accept it in myself, in my integrity, that I live this life and I did not do this. That's when we connect and we use the power of death, the angel of death, and saying, okay, what is transcendent? What is really, really important? Beyond the urgencies that appear now. The urgencies usually come by fear, and the fear usually comes by fear of death. So we are fearful of death or suffering. So whenever we know that we are being driven by the fear of suffering or death, we know we are handled by the ego. The ego will makes us escape from pain and makes us fearful from death, so we are able to sacrifice many important things, or the important things, for not dying. So that's the spectrum most of the people are in the world, in the mediocrity on trying to survive. I say it plainly because I see the zombie apocalypse now, and it's like all scared and losing their freedoms because of fear of death. And that's why it comes this talk, because they don't have a reason to die for. They just don't want to die, to live a tasteless life that of passing pleasures or temptations and not focusing transcendence. That's what brings meaning to life. And that's what requires being the driver of our life, or otherwise we are these subjects of the collective ego. We're subjects of escaping death, not being fearful. No. Face the fear, because, okay, bring it on, angel of death. Bring it on. It's like, what do I need to do in order to accomplish this that is non-negotiable? So there becomes the sacrifice. And to remove the religious connotation of sacrifice, that is like, oh, this suffering thing. No. Sacrifice was distorted in translation and means sacro officio. Sacro officio. Sacro, sacred, office, work. So I am having life as a sacred work. I commit as a sacred work while I'm living. So that's why I'm sacrificing. I'm declaring something sacred. What I'm doing is sacred, has a higher meaning, and that's why I fully commit into it. And yes, they highlighted the part of the pain that, of course, may come with it. May come or not, but we just usually comes because of the pressure of life. But otherwise, we don't go through the process of initiation and the clearing of the. It was like there is this calls religion, but it's the cleaning of the sin. That's also another mistranslation. Sin is mistake, missing the objective, missing the point. So if we are not even daring to aim at something, of course we are going to miss. Of course, everybody is a sinner, is missing the point. Everybody's missing the point, technically, because nobody is even there to shoot the arrow at something higher. So that's why we need the Dharma and be able to aim. Yes, maybe we miss, but for sure we will miss if we don't aim. So we aim at something higher, and we put, even if we have one shot, we have to put us all ourselves in that shot. And that's the sacrificial. What am I willing to die for? That's awesome. That's awesome question. Well, I am willing to die for leaving a heroic trail, leaving a legacy that opens up the remembrance of transcendence and the heroic ways to be ourselves living fully and to liberate us from the prisons of misery and the ego and the entrapments of the matrix. So that's why I came here. It's like, that's whenever we do the hero's way, we have to come with some elixirs, and these are the ones I'm bringing. And yes, we come as we sacrifice. It's like we have to put ourselves in here to choose to incarnate, to come and to live some transcendence, and to also leave the trails for people to do it, you know. Because we're on time, I think that this thing of the aim and the transcendence and the angel of death and the tools are a good guideline to learning how to die, because we are willing to direct our death towards something. There's this component of inevitability. There's something imminent. It's going to happen. The thing here is, are we directing the story? Are we directing the direction of our death? Are we directing the direction of our life? It's the same. We can say the two sides of the coin. If we are directing towards what we are going to die in a way of how my legacy will be remembered, even that is not there publicly, in the TV, and no, you know what you did. Neil Donald Walsh tells that life is about all the lives we touch. Life is about all the lives we touch, and the souls will remember. And when we do open records, we see souls that are very grateful, that are coming, helping, being thankful, and sometimes when we are not aware of what we did, they come to claim some things. So it's how we walk the way, how we direct the direction of our life, loving our fate. And Sylvan was bringing a lot of stoic wisdom. Amor fati, love to our destiny, because we become in love with our destiny because we are creating it. It's our creation, our destination. So that's why we can love it as our creation, our life script, our life dramas, problems, and resolutions. We can love them because we own them as our creations. I can't believe I'm this poetic, even not being slept that well. I will just fight a battle to. I will just eat an apple to look more Shakespearean. Okay. We're okay with this for the recording, and now we are going to go into the assessment of the Hero's Way applications. That's why I'm teaching this. The Hero's Way application is for living a more heroic life. That's why we do initiations, the initiatic ways. That's what the world is needing, to having beginnings and ends, initiations. Ah, yes, this has to go in the recording too. When we tune into our godlike awareness, we can see fractals. Fractals is certain patterns that we can see reproduced in many dimensions. We can zoom out and we see the pattern again. We zoom out and we zoom in and we change that and we see the same pattern. So that's a fractal that is reproducing, and we can detect it or identify it in many times, places, shapes. So a day, when we start having an initiatic life, a day is a lifetime. And when we work on the beginnings and the endings, the beginnings as the birth, the enter of light, or the coming the light out, and as giving birth, dar a luz in Spanish is also bringing light. And the death, that is the sleeping. Every time we go to sleep, it's like a micro death. Whenever we have control on those daily cycles, we can have control on the bigger cycles. So the initiatic ways, we pay a lot of attention on from where we start, how we start the day. And when we start having certain rituals at the beginning of the day, or at the ending of the day, or even in the middle of the day, we see fractals. We are using our director, the editor, the narrator, all the roles that help us to craft a better life. And this is the art of life and death and everything in between. Lastly, because it was out of the recording, ritual, for example, that is a transmutation for this is the hair. When we cut our hair, and as some of you heard recently, the story of I went to a quartz big rock in a full moon, and there were like extraterrestrials around, and we have to bring a tribute, as in the initiatic rites, we bring a tribute, and we tribute ourselves in the hair, in our memories. Remember the memories that are here in our DNA. So the hair has all our information. And we do willingly a ritual of burning, of death of ourselves, and closing a cycle in there. So we tribute the past self by burning our hair. And that is a ritual that I started doing whenever I shave, and I embed this attention of fractal and meaning of what I'm doing and intention. And that's why the initiatic rites are so important for having a life of more meaning. We are beings of rituals. So we just need an initiatic awareness to do them. And we are going to work them in this, it's a training. It started just being channeling training, but then it became channeling, healing, activation. That's all the things that I've been doing. And initiatic rites. So it's so, I don't see separation, even that I can talk different things separated. I don't see separation in all those things, because whenever we do a ritual of channeling, a ritual of clearing, a ritual of communicating with subtle beings, a ritual of healing, a ritual of harmonizing systems, it has embedded an initiatic device. So that's why we are training in initiatic rites. I'm bringing that training that I see essential. I see essential in our lives to sculpt and keep being a resourceful artist of life. Okay, for the ones who are watching the recording, please share. And yes, this can be not even lifesaver, because we are not saving life. This can be a transcendence facilitator, a good karma creation when we facilitate or share this tool to people that may not be aware of these things or may have forgotten. That's also a thing that is the nemesis of humanity, the loss of memory. So please share for having good karma, good dharma, and if you want to join the assessments of the heroic ways as well, send me your email, and I will send you the resources, the things.